जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। जयो प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। निताई गौरा हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणार विंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिभुजिकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस सिम्हा गुरु भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। वैराग्य मूर्ति गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गोकुल द्वारका धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताई की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 56th chapter verse number 25 and 26. It's related to Shimantaka jewel being missing and Krishna is searching for it. So that's what we will be discussing today. Start with prayers here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपपदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश्वरा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुतदेवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभय एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Okay, I will read the verse and please try to recite afterwards. Text number 25. Krishna mushti vinishpata nishpistanguru bandhana Shina sattva swinagatras tam ahativa vishmitaha. Krishna mushti vinishpata nishpistanguru bandhana Shina sattva swinagatras tam ahativa vishmita. Krishna mushti vinishpata nishpistanguru bandhana Shina sattva swinagatras tam ahativa vishmita. Krishna mushti vinishpata nishpitanguru bandhana Shina sattva swinagatras tam ahateva vishmita. Krishna musti vinishpata nishpistan guru bandana Shina sattva svina gadras tam ahativa vishmita. Krishna musti vinishpata nishpista guru vandana Shina sattva svina gadras tam ahativa vishmita. Word to word meaning? Shina musti, Krishna musti, of Lord Krishna's fists, vinishpata, by the blows, nishpista, pummeled, anga, of whose body, uru, huge, bandhanaha, the muscles, kshina, diminished, sattva, whose strength, svina, perspiring, gatraha, whose limbs, tam, to him, aha, he spoke, ativa, extremely, vishmita, astonished. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: his bulging muscles pummeled by the blows of Lord Krishna's fists, his strength faltering and his limbs perspiring, Jambavan, greatly astonished, finally spoke to the Lord. Text number 26. जाने त्वां सर्वभूतानां प्राण ओजः सहोबलं विष्णुं पुराण पुरुषं प्रभविष्णुं adhiswaram. Translation: Jambavan said, I know that you are the life air and the sensory, mental and bodily strength of all living beings. You are Lord Vishnu, the original person, the supreme, all-powerful controller. So Lord Krishna and Jambavan were fighting, and the fight went on for a long time, for 28 days. And after 28 days, Jambavan gave up. He said, I cannot fight this person. This person must be Lord Vishnu. So that's what we will be discussing today. They were fighting over a jewel called Shemantaka jewel. Thank you so much for being in the class today. Uh, I need you more than you need a Bhagavatam speaker. Please remember that. So the idea I got was what's the real source of the strength of Jambavan? Because Jambavan was trying to fight Krishna based on his strength. He's very powerful, but we want to understand in this verse how to find the real source of strength. I tried to do the inventory of what these two verses were showing about Jambavan, seemingly showing about Jambavan. His propensity for self-importance. I'm so strong, I'm the king of monkeys. It's interesting. It's sometimes mentioned as king of monkeys, and Jambavan is sometimes mentioned as king of bears. So either one. Uh, Another defect is false pride. He's showing false pride that since I'm the king, I will be able to defeat whoever the person is before me who wants to take the jewel away from me. Hate and resentment. That's what Jambavan is seemingly showing in these two verses. So I tried to focus this on pride. Focus this lecture on pride. And what Bhagavad Gita says about this, and then we will talk about what's the position of Jambavan and what's Prabhupada is Prabhupada's perspective of Jambavan is. And Bhagavad Gita, let's start with pride. We'll focus on pride. Bhagavad Gita 16.4 mentions that, I'll read translation: arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pratha. So this is a demoniac quality, demoniac trait, attribute. Somebody shows so much pride. Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that in this verse, the royal road to hell is described. Demoniac people are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. Over trifles, they speak harshly but not gently. They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the very beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mother, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. It was interesting to me when it mentioned that these demoniac qualities are taken on from the beginning of their body in the wombs of their mother. When we chant the prayers before taking prasad, we mention that this body is network of ignorance. And we mention that because the body is designed this way, that if we if we are not proactively partaking in practices in the mode of goodness, the body will automatically will go into mode of ignorance. And our neurological system is designed in that way. There is this book that I remember, it's called Addiction and Grace, and by Gerald May. In fourth chapter, the name of the book, fourth chapter was Neurological View of Addiction. And it says, some people are just born that way. Their body is, they will be much more prone to be addicts, when they grow up, because their neurological system is designed like that. That of themselves, if they do not surrender, if they do not surrender to God, or whatever spiritual practice they follow, it will be very easy for them to be lost in these addictive behaviors. So it was interesting when Prabhupada is also writing that these demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the very beginning of their body in the wombs of their mother. So it's difficult to practice spiritual life. It depends lot on our baggage we are carrying from past life. Bhagavad Gita, one more verse talking about pride, says 16.18: bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in his own body and in bodies of others, and blasphemes against real religion. So Jambavan is showing something like this. He's showing some false ego, strength. I'm so strong. I killed the lion. I I was able to kill the lion, and I was able to obtain the Shamantaka jewel. No one can fight again. Can defeat me. I'm the king of all the bears or monkeys. So the Prabhupada is saying this is bewilderment, that the conditioned soul is bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger. The demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one is bewildered by these qualities, so much pride, so much ego, lust, or anger, it's we automatically become envious to Krishna, who is situated as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's also situated as Paramatma in each of our hearts. And then they cannot follow the practice of real practices and principles of real religion. And in purport, Prabhupada also explains that, what's the definition of demon, because Jambavan is seemingly showing the characteristics of demon here. Prabhupada is writing that demon is always against supremacy. Anyone who is anyone who is more than him in any him or her in any opulence, they cannot accept that. They are against supremacy, and they are envious of Krishna. These are the two attributes of demons. And how do they get these two attributes? The purport explains that caused by prestige and accumulation of wealth and strength. So Jambavan has a lot of strength. So it's easier to be to be envious for him, because all his life seeing nobody who will be more in strength than him. So it will be easier. Prabhupada is writing, the demon does not know that the present life is a preparation for next. Thus he is envious of his own self. So being envious of Krishna is not envious of us. Being envious of Krishna is ultimately we are being envious of our own self. We are causing our own ruins because of this. In 15th chapter, 5th verse, Prabhupada is writing that pride is hindrance. It's an impediment to surrender to Krishna. The more pride we have about our qualities, about our wealth, our material acquisitions, the more difficult it becomes to surrender to Krishna. In the purpose, Prabhupada is writing that one who is free from illusion, false prestige, and false association, who understands the eternal, who is done with material lust, and is freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who knows how to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, attains eternal kingdom. So, being free from false prestige, only then we can be happy in the spiritually happy in the duality of material happiness or distress. This is the secret. This verse is sharing with us to be spiritually happy in material happiness or distress. One has to be freed from false pride, prestige, and false prestige. Prabhupada is saying that the first qualification is that one should not be deluded with pride. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. People who are considering that the land, this earth, belong to the human society, they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. When one is freed from such false notion, he becomes free from all the false associations caused by family, social, and national affection. The fake association binds one to this material world. So, in this verse, Prabhupada is explaining how important it is to develop spiritual knowledge. Says that understanding things as they are, but not as we are, this will help us to surrender unto Krishna. And we talk about surrender, we talked about it last time also. So surrender, lot of time it happens that in following spiritual life, we get stuck in so much complicated concept of in different complicated concepts of surrender. So sometimes the prayers are so big, it's difficult to get the essence. Surrender, we should keep it simple. Surrender is that we give up our right, of respect, right of lust, right of anger, greed, resentment. We give all that right to Krishna. It's not my right. Right there, keep it simple. So human beings have four basic instincts. The instinct of self-esteem, having good personal relations with other, our personal ambitions being fulfilled, and our instinct of security. So sometimes when these four instincts, any one of them goes way out of control, at that time we face trouble in our life and we will lose path It's easy to deviate from our spiritual life. So Jambavan at the which of his instinct ran wild? The instinct of self-esteem. So the one devotee shared with me this article of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur yesterday. It talked about, that's what the title was. It was the character defects of the mind. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is writing that mind and soul are hostile to each other. Our mind and soul are hostile to each other. Eternal enemy. They say our mind and soul have been our eternal enemy. What the mind wants to do is not good for the soul, and what the soul wants to accomplish, it's contrary to the nature of mind. That's what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying. He's saying that of all the character defects, the prominent is deceiving oneself and others. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying that mind cannot guide itself. It is ever being guided by unending and insatiable bundle of desires in the shape of enjoyment or indifference of what is good or evil. So that's what Jambavan is showing, his instinct of self-esteem that, I am powerful, this is supposed to be mine, has run wild so much that it is causing his own ruins. The Krishna is fighting with him. And this, as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also saying, this is the principal character defect of our mind, that we are deceiving just ourselves more, fighting against Krishna, acquiring so much material wealth, it becomes the cause of our anxiety. Who are we fighting against? We are fighting against our own peace. So now we will discuss about glories of Jambavan. Jambavan is actually a pure devotee. Uh, he was also present at the time of Lord Ramachandra's pastime. He was also present at the time of Vamandev's pastime. When Vamandev, expanded from a little small Brahmana boy to this huge three Vakrama form, to then Jambavan played his bugle as a glorification of Vamandev. And Jambavan was known to circumambulate this huge three Vakrama form of Vamandev 21 times with just one single leap. He took the jump, and his jump, he must have had some mystical powers. Because of this jump, he circumambulated Vamandev's huge form. His form was, all over the universe. And Jambavan was able to circumambulate this form 21 times. So, and then to glorify more Vamandev, he was playing his bugle that resounded all over the universe. He assisted Lord Ramachandra to get his wife Sita back from Ravana. And I remember when I was reading this article, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying that Lord Ramachandra is love incarnate and Ravana was lust incarnate. So Jambavan was assisting, serving Lord Ramachandra in his pastimes. So Krishna says in spiritual world, in Vaikuntha Lok, everybody is serving Lord Vishnu with awe and reverence. Nobody wants to fight Lord Vishnu. So if Krishna wants to fight, what can he do? He cannot fight with anyone in the spiritual world. They are unwilling to fight with him. So Krishna, one of the reason he comes in the material world is he wants to relish that sporting rasa of fighting. Who fights with Krishna? Krishna's devotees come from spiritual world into the material world to fight with him. So Krishna wanted to fight, so that's why Jambavan is overtaken by anger so that he can fight with Krishna. So actually when devotees are under these seemingly bad qualities, it is an orchestration of Yogmaya. So how Jambavan was born. So when this universe was created, the creation cycle, but in the end, when Garbho Udakshai Vishnu from his belly the lotus stem comes, and Brahma appears on the lotus. He, to start the creation in the lotus stem, all the universe 14 planetary systems are in this lotus stem. So he doesn't have a knowledge, he's just born and he has been given this task of creation. So he starts to meditate on Lord Vishnu, so that he meditates on Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who is in his heart, so that he gets this knowledge how to do creation. So when he started to do meditation, sometimes, so he yawned. When Lord Brahma yawned, then Jambavan came from his mouth. That's how Jambavan was born. So yeah. Nectar of Devotion, 21st chapter, is Prabhupada writes that another instant of Krishna's feeling obligation is stated in connection with his dealings with Jambavan. Krishna was always very respectful for Jambavan, because Prabhupada says that he was feeling obligated to his devotee, that when he came as a Lord Ramchandra previously, then Jambavan assisted him so much. So Krishna always felt obligation towards Jambavan, and he was very respectful towards him. So it says Krishna paid him all respects which are to be given to superiors. Nectar of Devotion is saying that. Because when Jambavan realized that the person he's fighting is none other than Lord Vishnu, he not only gives Chamantaka jewel, but he also says, as an offering to you, I give you my daughter Jambavati. And when the ceremony happens, then Krishna, as they respect father-in-law and do all the rituals and pujas, so he was very much respectful towards Jambavan. And another time in Nectar of Devotion, 48th chapter, uh, when when Jambavan was exhausted, I cannot fight this person anymore, and he realizes this person is Lord Vishnu. Then he begins to feel guilt that, why he's my real master, why am I fighting him? So Jambavan was also called Raksha. So I think that means animals, and Krishna refers to him as Raksha Raj, king of animals, or Rakshasas. I do not know the origin of this word, but Krishna tells to Jambavan that, my dear Raksharaj, why why is your face so dry? Please do not feel threatened by me. There is no need for your heart to tremble like this. Please calm yourself down. I have no anger towards you. You may, however, become as angry as you like with me to expand your fighting service and to increase my sporting attitude. So Krishna knows that it is his sporting attitude that Jambavan is facilitating by being envious towards Krishna. Prabhupada says that this is his ecstatic love for Krishna. It's a very unique kind of ecstatic love, because in this display of love, he's dreading Krishna. But that's what Krishna wants. So this is in the 56th chapter, this description of fighting between Krishna and Jambavan. So I thought I will get some points from 56th chapter of Krishna book. Says here that Krishna and the citizens of Dwarka then found in the forest a great tunnel. When Krishna was searching for Shamantaka jewel, they saw this tunnel that was going into the forest, and it was big dark tunnel. So the people, all the Dwarka citizens that were accompanying Krishna said, "You don't go. You stay here. I will go into that tunnel and see where the jewel is." So Krishna goes alone in that tunnel, and then they are fighting there for 28 days, and his friends are outside this tunnel waiting. When will Krishna come? So after 12 days, they give up. They give up after 12 days, and they go back to Dwarka. So they thought something might have happened to Krishna. So in 56th chapter it says that Krishna and the citizens of Dwarka then found in the forest a great tunnel said to be the path of Raksha's house, Jambavan's house, Raksha's house. One, so Krishna went through the tunnel and the citizens stayed outside. They fought for 28 days. And why? The reason this pastime is to instruct us a principle of spiritual life. What is that principle? So Krishna book mentions that principle is that when we are in angry mood, we cannot recognize Krishna. So why he was angry? Because Jambavan was attached to his boy who he gave the jewel. You play with this Yamantaka jewel. And he was attached to the jewel also. So when we are in angry mood, we cannot recognize Krishna. There is a saying that when anger comes in, wisdom goes out. As soon as Krishna, so he is still a pure devotee. So Krishna wanted to enjoy this sporting attitude. So Krishna book says that as soon as Krishna felt satisfied, okay, now I fought enough. Now I feel satisfied. So at that time, Jambavan had all the realizations come to him. Oh, he's the supreme personality of Godhead. He's Vishnu. So this is an orchestration of Yog Maya. Yog Maya makes us forget, makes pure devotees forget that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. When Krishna was Bal Gopal, small little baby Krishna, toddler, in Vrindavan he ate dust, and his brother Balram was there. And Balram said, "You should not have done that. I will complain about this to Yashoda Mai." He goes and complains to Yashoda Mai, and Yashoda Mai, rebukes him. Why do you do? Why I told you not to do this? So Krishna says, "I have not eaten any dirt." And Yashoda Mai says that Balram told me. So Krishna says, "No, Balram is lying." So Yashoda Mai says, "Give me a proof. Open your mouth. I will check." As soon as Krishna opens his mouth, Yashoda Maya sees all the universe in his mouth, and you know she faints and she wakes up, and Yog Maya covers her mood again, and she thinks, okay, he's just a little boy, Krishna, he's my son, and she forgets that she saw the reality of the position of Krishna. So similar thing happened, as soon as Krishna felt satisfied, Jambavan had all this realization that, who I'm fighting is Vishnu, and he's the source of all the strength, and we are not supposed to fight him. Srila Prabhupada says in a conversation in Garden 1976, October 9 in Aligarh, that Jambavan is actually showing the quality of Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are very, dynamic. They always want to serve Krishna. They are not lazy. As sometimes somebody accused that Prabhupada, all the devotees that you're making, they do not want to work. They are just lazy people. They do not have education. So how can this movement be productive for society? So Prabhupada later was discussing that somebody told him this, but actually real Vaishnava is like Jambavan. Prabhupada is saying they are like Jambavan. They are sturdy and strong fighters. Those are real Vaishnavas. So these were the few points that I gathered from these two verses. If you have anything that you would like to discuss and share your realizations, I'll be very indebted to you.
You said Krishna wants to fight to what?
Yeah,
What did
because
you say?
Krishna cannot fight in spiritual world. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Prabhupada, one example I can give about this is that Prabhupada say that even if olden times king is there, king is supposed to rule everyone, but sometimes he wrestles also with other wrestlers in the kingdom because he wants to enjoy that flavor, fighting flavor. So even though he's a king, he's still fighting, and the opponent he's fighting, seemingly punches him, and he's hurt, but actually nobody is allowed to do that to a king. So similarly in spiritual world, everybody in Vaikuntha Lok, everybody is, so
Nobody's fighting in Vaikuntha Lok.
nobody's fighting. So if Krishna wants to have this sporting, rasa, this fighting enjoyment, he cannot have that there. So To do that, he comes here, and he fights with demons. But all those demons, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, they are all, spiritual personalities in Vaikuntha Loka, who comes here to facilitate that mood of Krishna.
So is Jambavan a demon or is he not?
No, he's not a demon. He's not a demon. He's just showing the characteristics of demons so that Krishna can enjoy that.
So
rasa.
so people in the world, they're only showing characteristics of demons, or are
So
they
yeah,
demons themselves?
so all the people, in general populace, they are not coming from spiritual world to, facilitate Krishna's pastimes. The Krishna is just, there's some lessons to be learned from this pastime. As we get angry, we forget Krishna. So these lessons are being showed through this pastime. But in general, these people, they have demoniac qualities, in general
They're not
population.
coming from
Yeah,
spiritual world.
yes.
Thank you.
Um, the strength of Jambavan is obviously a laudable quality, both by the quote from Srila Prabhupada that you pointed to in the letter, and also by virtue of the fact that he's utilizing his strength to, in a kind of protective manner, because a jewel was taken away from his son. So it doesn't, and also the fact that, you were pointing out that there's a yoga maya covering that, the anger that's there may be not allowing him to understand who his opponent is in this particular circumstance. But at any rate, he's using his strength in a laudable manner. And in fact, he's lauded for his strength. So it wouldn't actually seem that, from earlier on in the beginning, there was sort of a pointing to the various qualities that, prevent one from, I guess, understanding Krishna. And some mention was made of strength being accompanied with the thought of, wanting to possess something. And, there was, you recited various examples, the way that plays itself out. But still, in the end, it seems that in the case of Jambavani's strength is laudable. So that's what I'm not seeing it so much as, coming from a place of obstruction in his relationship with Krishna.
No, it's always being in serving Krishna. You know, he seemingly mentions, when Lord, he reminds Hanuman that to cross the ocean, he reminds him of all the benedictions he got, and at that time he says, you can cross the ocean, but now I feel old. Now I feel old. I don't think I will be able to cross over the ocean if I jump. But so yes, he always, show off his strength, even when he jumped and circumambulated Vamandev 21 times and fighting Krishna for 28 days, and fighting with all sorts of weapons and with fist fighting. It's all the sign of strength that he's serving Krishna. He never used any of this strength to serve or align with other demons. So, as I remember, he's assisting love incarnate to get what really belongs to love incarnate from lust incarnate. That's what how Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was mentioning. So all of his strength is always being used to serve Krishna, Ramchandra, Vamandev, and it's inspiring also. How we should be so victorious in serving the Lord. and how so mighty.
Thank you for your class. There's so many things, so many thoughts, and so many things that are so dynamic. I think one thought that came to me was like with devotees, is who knows who's a pure devotee, who's not pure devotee, who knows what is yoga maya going on or mahamaya, who knows? That's what is meant by being Krishna conscious. So who knows? But the one thought to me came that I think it's okay to share that it's like being in a washing machine, a bunch of clothes, and they're being clean and they're going agitated, right? The thing in the middle is to agitate them, right? And they're getting clean. So when I think of devotees in this environment, the agitation is for us to get clean, whether it's Maya, Yoga Maya, Maha Maya. The key for me recently is to try to not take it serious, no matter what it is, and try to ask Krishna, what is it, what's going on, and keep asking questions to Krishna to how to always understand it. Because when I witness things and when I'm involved in things, I try to sit and ask Krishna, like, what is it? Like, what is it, Krishna? What's the lesson? What is the blessing? And I always try to think of devotees as his instruments for some type of instruction, some type of, it's going to make sense because I trust Krishna, but I just have to give it time and try to understand it. But that's how I'm thinking of what you were saying. I may not understand it in the moment, but given time, Krishna knows what he's doing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, nice thought. Now I'll share two things. I want to experience, what my experience, and where I get strength and where I feel hope. Make it personal. So about living in temple environment, and you saying having difficulties, and if it is Yog Maya or Mahamaya. So you know devotional standpoint, they say that Uttam Adhikari, topmost level Vaishnava, Madhyam Adhikari, intermediate, and neophyte devotee. So Uttam Adhikari, the topmost level of Vaishnava, he sees everyone as servant of Krishna. Even if he is under Mahamaya or if it is under Yog Maya, he says that Mahamaya is servant of Krishna, they are servant of Mahamaya, so they are actually servant of Krishna. And then somebody is under Yog Maya, so they are also directly servant of Krishna. So they are all serving Krishna, but I am neither serving Mahamaya or nor I am serving Yog Maya. So I am not serving Krishna. So I am still the lowest of all. So this is what a pure devotee thinks. And yes, living in all the devotees around, it gets difficult, and as you said, mentioning Krishna, ask with patience. So there is sometimes pain in relating with other people because it surfaces lot of our inner issues. Outside in this material world, everything is very superficial, so all these issues are still there, but they are still so much underneath that they do not surface. But in temple environment, it starts to come out. And then to make it personal, what works for me is, I do an inventory. What an inventory is, whatever, anything, anytime I shake up, uh, so ask, as you said, being patient and asking Krishna, Krishna, what is really happening? So as we talked about Jambavan, that what he was showing, what he was showing, Jambavan was showing self importance, resentment and hate against Krishna, and false pride. So there are such different character defects that are lying within our heart. And anytime anything shakes me up personally, I try to do this inventory. So it will take 2 minutes, but I will share with you what are the principal character defects of a conditioned soul. So one defect is self pity. Self pity, it should be replaced with self forgetfulness. Self pity is that we are thinking about ourselves too much, so it should be replaced with self forgetfulness. So anytime this happens, I write on, okay, this shows self-pity, and I say, Krishna, you take this away and please bless me with self-forgetfulness. Another is self-justification. We do wrong things and we keep justifying ourselves. This should be replaced with humility. you know Humility is also called truth. It's the truth. But when we justify ourselves, we do wrong things, but we justify. Another is self importance. When we give ourselves too much importance, like Jambavan was doing, that I am the king of animals, and everything in this forest must belong to me. It should be replaced with modesty. Self condemnation. When we condemn ourselves, uh, it also rises from self pity. But when we condemn ourselves, it should be replaced with self valuation. Our dishonesty must be replaced with honesty. Our impatience must be replaced with patience. Our hate for others must be replaced by love. Our resentment must be replaced by forgiveness. Our false pride, also what Jambavan was showing, must be replaced by simplicity. Our jealousy must be replaced by trust. Our envy must be replaced by generosity. Our laziness must be replaced by activity. Our procrastination must be replaced by promptness. Our insincerity towards other people must be replaced by us being straightforward. Our negative thinking must be replaced by positive thinking. Our vulgar, immoral, trashing thinking must be replaced by high minded, spiritual, and clean thinking. And our criticizing propensity must be replaced by looking good in everything attitude. So, personally, that's what I do. If I feel shaken up, I write these things down and I pray, Krishna, you replace this with this.
Repeat them a little bit slower.
Slower.
I didn't catch all of them, but they're so important.
Yeah,
If you could
okay.
repeat them. I know it's a long, but we
Patience.
ain't got nowhere
I'm
to
trying
go.
to follow patience here. Okay. Self pity, self justification, self importance, self condemnation, dishonesty, impatience, hate, resentment, false pride, jealousy, envy, laziness, procrastination, insincerity, negative thinking, vulgar thinking, immoral thinking, trashing thinking, and criticizing. These are all the liabilities. The opposite of them. Okay, the opposite is self forgetfulness, humility, modesty, self valuation, honesty, patience, love, forgiveness, simplicity, trust, generosity, activity, positive activity, promptness, devotional service, straightforwardness with other devotees, positive thinking, high minded, spiritual, and clean thinking, and looking for the good attitude. Bhagavad Gita also mentioned, devotees have these 26 qualities. They're kind of similar, So Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that in devotional life, these anarthas is like a huge ocean for us to cross to get to to get love of God. So this is a lifetime of work. Personally, how I personally feel, I will never be freed from all these things, but I'll have to keep praying to Krishna and keep. I'll share. These are just simple, all spiritual literature. I don't know where somebody gave it to me. Yes, we will share. Everything's okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।